Hi guys, today I want to talk about bankruptcy, and yes, that has very little to do with psychology, but if you give me a moment, I'll explain. So yesterday we went through why everyone needs an asshole, both biologically but also socially. You need a friend who is honest with you, who is confrontational, who is able to point out your weaknesses. And yes, there was the caveat that you need to find and you need to discuss a way of communicating that while still ensuring and reassuring each other that you love each other. There's a difference between, hey, you fucked up, and hey, you fucked up, and the reason I'm pointing this out is because I love you dearly, and that fuck up is going to affect you. And also I'm stuck with you, so I don't want to have to deal with it. There's a difference. And you need to work on you need to find out how to communicate that properly. Anyway, that was yesterday's. So having friends around that disagree with you makes you stronger, points out your weaknesses, makes your argument stronger, because it's hard to explore an argument if you don't have resistance going against you. And it can broaden your view of the world because it can stop you being in an echo chamber. So that's great. That was the main message of the video. There was also kind of like an unspoken message, which was permission for you to be an asshole, for you to be more honest, more authentic, more of an asshole. And again, with the caveat of communicating with love. But you might have missed that. So I want to really kind of dig into that today by exploring what bankruptcy is and why do we allow it? Why is it legal? Because I can guarantee you that the minute I say bankruptcy, there's just a nasty taste in your mouth. There's a taste. And yes, that's from 2008 and the whole like bailing out the banks and all the rest. And if you were around for like 2000 and the dot-com bubble, but I have a funny feeling a lot of people will be too young to remember that, because I can't remember it, so I can't speak on that one. But 2008, bailing out all the banks, and you're just like, oh, everyone gritted their teeth, everyone grinded their teeth, everyone was just like, bet they still have a big house, bet they're still grand for money. Like, what did they lose out on? They risked everything, we have to pay for it. Screw them, fuck them. They're assholes. It was their idiocy, it was their stupidity, their whatever, their greed that led to this. And like, are they any worse off personally? No, they're the exact same, and that seems so unjust and unfair. But bankruptcy is legal for a reason. We allow stuff like that. We put up with, we tolerate moments like that. Because what is bankruptcy? Bankruptcy is writing off your debt, allowing you to get back up on your feet so you can try again. So it's a second chance. And yes, it hurts us economically and it causes resentment and all the rest. But it allows people to take risks. And the risks are really valuable. And when we get caught off, when we have to pay it, when it doesn't work out, when it hurts, I get it. But when it pays off, it pays off. So let's give a few random examples. You have all of your CEOs that like dropped out of Harvard, like Bill Gates and Mark Zuckerberg or whatever. Actually, Mark Zuckerberg said a quote that bankruptcy was the best invention ever since electricity. I agree. And then like Steve Jobs dropped out like Penn State. You have all these people that dropped out of very prestigious colleges, very secure, safe pathways ahead of them. Like they were set for life pretty much, like guaranteed. And they gave it all up for this wish, this hope, this dream, this product, this invention, whatever way you want to phrase it. They gave up that security for the risk. And luckily it paid off. And they're now worth billions. But it pays off that much. We put up with the 100 fuck-ups so that we get that one that pays off. And it pays off so well that it pays off for all the 100 fuck-ups. Because, okay, don't forget that if we don't grow, we die. Our whole economy, everything is based on growth. Every teacher will create 20 teachers. Everything's based off growth. There's a weird economic thing or whatever when population stops growing, and they've tried to counteract that. Anyway, that's all side notes. It doesn't matter. Okay, so other examples of the risk paying off. personally, like, don't think this is just on the big wigs, the big guys, just because they're playing with millions and that they have, like, it's a game just for the rich. It's not. On a personal level, should you take the risk? And the answer is yes, almost always. Okay, there's more nuance to this, as with everything in psychology. It's not black and white. That's why we're here talking about it. Otherwise, I'd just give you a manual and we'd all ace the test. It's not that simple. So, when you're dealing with this, when you have an idea, an opportunity, something that you want to do, you want to drop out of your course and go and start a new one. You want to end a relationship and start a new one. You want to create a product. You want to give up your job and whatever side hobby you have, you want to make that your full-time job. All of these things. The only real caveat is that you've actually thought through it and it makes sense. If you are in your final year of college and you are in medicine and you just don't like it and you want to go do journalism or something like that. Okay, have you any actual history writing? Has anyone told you your writing's good? Have you tried to write for medical journals if you like, or magazines or something like that, if you want to kind of hybrid the two or something? If you have not, if this is just some idle dream you have or something like that and you haven't put any effort into it yet, there's no guarantee you'll put effort into it when you drop out of college, when you drop whatever you're doing at the moment. These risks are not a means of running away from what you're in at the moment because what you're in at the moment doesn't feel great. These risks are specifically on about when you've a calling, when you have a drive to go in just a different direction. That's what I'm specifically on about here. So this isn't about just dropping everything and starting all over again because it didn't work out. That has its place and sometimes that can be an option, but that's not what we're on about here. We're on about an actual idea that you're trying to take out of your imagination and put into the world. And if you've thought it through, if it actually makes sense, if the business, if the logistics make sense, go for it. Every time. I don't necessarily care what's in the way. And there's this weird thing where when you ask people's opinions, they will advise you to take the safe route. They will advise you to take the risk later on. Finish off this college, like start into like your residency or something, like start your job. You're so close to it, just start it, see how it feels. And then if you don't like it, try out your hobby. Or your side hustle isn't making that much money at the moment. And they're just like, well, maybe just build it up an extra bit just so you can kind of securely do it and then switch over. But there's always going to be like this weird delay because no one wants you to jump off the cliff. No one wants you to take the leap because it's risky. And if it doesn't work out, they'll get slated. They will get, you could blame them. Potentially, that's the worry. But the magical thing is that when you actually decide to do it, when you say, hey, I'm going doing this, I'm dropping out, I'm going starting something else, I'm going quitting my job, I'm going doing the side hustle, I've changed my mind about some political view, like whatever it is, they weren't around for the journey. They aren't around for how difficult your current situation is. They aren't around for how much love you have for the new thing. They don't know. So it's not up to them, it's up to you. And when you do decide, if you've properly thought it out and you're just like, no, do you know what? I can't survive another year of this job. It's just miserable. I want to do the hobby and I'll go hard at it for 12 months. And if it doesn't work out, feck it, I can fall back, move back, like at the worst, move back home or something like that. Start all over again. Because the thing is, like, is it worth, okay, so it's not, if your actual life is in danger, if there is some genuine risk to your health or to your life in a very physical fact, then that's not a risk worth taking. But is it worth like a financial death? Yes, that is why we allow bankruptcy. Is it worth a social death, losing a few friends, like having to start a social circle from scratch? I would argue yes. Is it worth hobbies or interests, or like is it worth like a mental health sort of death? Not fully, obviously, but you're risking it. And again, I would say it's worth it. If you are, because it's going to hurt. If you fail, it's going to hurt. if you have to pick yourself back up, if you have to move home again, if you have to start savings from scratch all over again, that hurts. So there's no point in me saying, like, you know, protect your mental health over everything else. It doesn't necessarily work like that. Sometimes you have to risk it to some degree. So that's an iffy topic. But hey, look, I'm going to take shit for that, like it's grand, whatever. But yeah, this game isn't just for big companies, whatever. And as a society, we always say, like, you know, be nice, consider everyone else, don't step on anyone else's toes, don't put yourself ahead of everyone else. And that is true, but like everything, it's not that simple. Because again, people will get out of your way once you decide that you're doing this. Some people will accommodate you if it's, like, phrase it in the short term if you want. Hey, I'm quitting my job, I'm doing this for 12 months and I'm going to go hard at it. I'm going to step on people's toes. Hey kids, like whatever kids are in the house, whatever, I'm taking the playroom, it's now my office. You can go play in the sitting room or you can go play in your room. I don't mind, but you're old enough now, you don't need a playroom anymore. They're going to be annoyed with you, for sure. So that would be a case of stepping on someone's toes. Maybe asking for financial capital, or like maybe offering capital in your new company to friends if they invest with you and all the rest. Your angel shareholders, or angel investments and all the rest. That sort of thing. If it fails, they're going to be out of money. And they understood that when they signed up, but it's still going to hurt. It's still going to annoy them. It will be some form of stepping on their toes or harming others around you that you do love dearly. Again, take the risk. The risk, when it pays off so well that we all tolerate it. So that is what bankruptcy is. That is the lesson to take away. Please take it. If you have an idea, like if you want to find your own brand in your creative space, if you like, I honestly don't care. I don't know how many ways I can phrase this. I don't necessarily care how you're pushing yourself, what direction you're trying to go in, what motivation you have. Well, okay, we want good motivation. Oh my God, trying to caveat this is ridiculous. Just go for it. Anyway, so that's where I'm going to leave it. It'll be okay. You will survive. If it fails, it'll hurt. Recognize that. If you're looking at a risk and you're like, I don't know if I'm going to do this or not, recognize that it really will hurt if it fails. It truly will. And be the monster that takes that on and says, yeah, I'm going to do it anyway. Screw it, I'm doing it. Be the absolute monster, the just gremlin, the ogre, the cyclops, whatever way you want to phrase it. Be the absolute abomination that says, I'm doing this and I don't give a fuck what everyone says. That's it. That's as motivational as I get. That's So that's it for today, guys. I will see you again tomorrow. Take it on board, get started, and yeah, I'll see you tomorrow. Bye, guys.